it's Jess. Welcome back to Elephant Tongue. I wanted to talk today about spiritual disillusionment, almost the advertising and marketing going on behind spirituality today and the idea of a spiritual awakening. And, I think it's a really interesting phenomena as we look at social media and all the different ways that it's changed human behavior and, thinking and all of that. I think it's also really changed spirituality and the spiritual pursuit. So that's my topic for today. If any of you have watched my last video, I was leaving my empty space in Virginia and I came back to my house in New Hampshire. I will show you, I do have stuff in my house here, very proud. But, even in coming back up here, I'm so aware of the difference between the images in your head and what actually happens in reality. I'm a grandmother. I have 2 little grandsons up here, and I thought when I came in the door, they were going to be so excited to see me and they were going to run up and hug me and, all this excitement. And my 3-year-old grandson was more like, "Hey, Gigi," that was it. And, that experience really started me thinking about how we do that with spirituality as well. And what a spiritual awakening is and what the whole spiritual pursuit has become in today's culture and in our minds, in my own mind as well. I really thought I would have this spiritual awakening and I would finally understand all these deeper questions of the universe. I've been struggling with this since I was 12 years old. And I finally get it. And somehow I thought it was going to be this mind-blowing expansion that I would just radiate love and light and, go into the world and just be different. And it's not working out that way. And I think so much of our culture and our media has this change your life, lose 10 pounds mentality. Everything will be great when you lose 10 pounds or 20 pounds, or when you exercise, or when you, achieve this car or this, whatever it happens to be. And so much of it is kind of what I thought my grandson was going to do. I had this Hallmark movie in my head that I was going to come up here and, my grandson would just be ecstatic and he's happy and he's cool with it, and he talked to me, he was excited to see me, but it wasn't at all this run into your arms in slow motion video that had been playing in my head. And the spiritual realm is falling into that same thing. We think that meditation is going to solve all of our problems, or you're suddenly going to sleep all night if you learn to meditate, or if you go through all of this non-dualism and you struggle in self-inquiry, or you follow a guru, or whatever your path is, you kind of think that the end is going to be some finish line, you're going to run through the end of the marathon and they're going to put a medal around your neck and you're going to go out into the world as this different, accomplished person. And the reality just isn't like that. You get to the end and there is no end. I don't mean it's okay, you get to the end, but you come to the understanding, you finally grasp what a spiritual awakening is. You finally have the answer to your questions. You have that internal peace. You get it. You meditate into these states and you still come home and face the same stuff that form continues to face. And I don't think we're kind of being told that realistically. I don't think there's enough teachings. I don't think enough teachers are being honest. There's this walk on the clouds idea in pop culture, particularly in American pop culture, where you think spirituality is the answer to your problems, or you think meditation is the answer, or whether it's diet or exercise or whatever is being sold to us is going to be this magical answer. And it just doesn't work out that way. You have a spiritual awakening, you go through all of this stuff, you go through the dark night of the soul, you go through everything, And you do come out as a really different person. And your identity is no longer with you as a person. Like, I don't identify first and foremost as form now. I totally understand. I am awareness acting through form. But my form is still acting, and my form is still walking in a door and oddly expecting, this Hallmark movie to play out. And my form is still confused when it isn't quite going that way. And I think that's the part that isn't being talked about or told to us. And so, I really want to say, I mean, maybe I'm not there yet and I'm missing it, but I've been at this for a really long time. I've been struggling in spirituality since I was at least 12, consciously trying to figure out the meaning of life and love and who I am as a consciousness. I'm 60. It's been a long ass road, and I'm still here playing both sides. I get it. I think I have peace with the answer. I think I really do understand, and I am comfortable with it and at peace with it. But that doesn't mean that you don't walk into the room after not seeing your grandkid for 4 months and expect, a little, I don't know, you want to run into your arms in a slow motion video. And it just isn't like that. Life just isn't like what we see on TV and what we associate with these states of consciousness or with these spiritual awakenings. I mean, they're very isolated events in a way, and they are amazing in those moments, but you still end up living in form. And that's not a bad thing. That's a really, really cool thing. But I think you have to know going into it that it's not an escape. You don't just disappear out of form or out of life or out of suffering or out of the surprise or confusion. I'm not attached to the outcome of being here and seeing my grandkids. I'm thrilled to be back. I'm thrilled to be with them. And they are excited. I mean, it's not that they're not, but it's not the Hallmark movie. And the same thing is true of meditative states. The same thing is true of, a spiritual awakening, of, I think, I don't know about the ultra image of enlightenment. Maybe you truly do just, go off in it. I don't know. I'm not there yet, clearly. But it's certainly so far, it's been continuing in both realms, which in some ways is way easier, and in some ways is almost more challenging. But anyway, I don't know if that resonates with anyone. Maybe it's just me who grew up with all Hallmark movies. But I do think that there is a huge push, particularly in American culture, of how spirituality is like this magical answer, or you're going to come to understand all of these things and just be in bliss. And there are blissful moments, but you're still going to be there in form. So anyway, I hope this resonates with someone, and I hope we can build some community around this, because I'm sure I'm not the only person out there thinking this. But anyway, until next time, keep rolling.